What's up, guys? JP back at you once again, bringing you guys day number 12 in my 13th annual 31 Days of Horror, a series in which we watch and review 31 horror films in 31 days, all during the month of October, leading right up to Halloween. And continuing along with day number 12, we have a film from the year 1959, and that is Curse of the Undead. This is a pretty interesting movie coming to us courtesy of Kino Lorber. This is a title that I have had in the collection for quite a while. Picked it up on one of the Kino sales, which Kino sales are like the best sales. $10 a pop usually for pretty cool Blu-rays. They have such a interesting library, so I always try to hit up the Kino sales when they come out, when they have them. Probably the best sales out of all the companies that release niche titles. So Curse of the Undead, 1959. As you guys know, I think I mentioned it in a previous video, we are doing a top 10 of 1959 on 22 shots, so while I'm prepping for that, I figured I would kill two birds with one stone and review a few 1959 movies for the 31 Days of Horror. So Curse of the Undead, it is a film that is pretty interesting. It is a Western mixed with vampires, and according to the back here, it says that it is the first film to mix cowboys and vampires, so that's kind of cool if that is true. I don't know if it's true or not, but Kino says so maybe it is. So basically the movie opens up with this girl that's in a bed, and she's like sort of dying. They don't really know what's wrong with her. They think they've like figured it out, and then she dies anyway. There is a doctor and a preacher, and the doctor is trying traditional medicine, the preacher trying, faith, and the girl dies anyway. The preacher ends up seeing that there is some puncture wounds on her neck, which kind of intrigues him a little bit. Sometime later, we are introduced to the doctor and his family. He has a son and a daughter, and there is a neighbor, like a nearby guy. I forget his name, but he's kind of like a douchebag. And he is having sort of land disputes with them. He's trying to buy their land. He dams up some stream or river or something, which causes some problems for them. And they have sort of this dispute. And then the doctor ends up getting killed. And the son believes that it is the douchebag neighbor guy. So he confronts him. They have a duel, and the son gets killed by the guy. But it turns out that the guy... that the vampire might be, there's a vampire in this film, might be the killer. So the vampire is a gunfighter named Drake Robbie, and he basically comes to town because the sister slash daughter is now alone on her ranch, and puts a murder for hire type poster up saying that she wants somebody to kill that neighbor guy who's been causing them problems, because she believes that her brother and father have been killed by this man, which we know the brother was, but it was kind of a little bit on him too, because he challenged the dude to a duel and lost. So in comes Drake Robbie, who is the vampire, but he is also a gunslinger, and he takes her up on the offer, and he says that he is going to kill this guy. Meanwhile, you have a preacher who is sort of the love interest for this daughter rancher named Dolores, and he is trying to stop her from seeking vengeance in the form of murder. So he begins to investigate into this Drake Robbie character because he thinks something's up with him. Eventually, he comes to think that he is a vampire, and he's trying to convince Dolores and other people in the town of this. So that is basically your plot. I think this movie is really solid. It's such an easy watch. It's only 79 minutes long, and it has a very interesting story. I like this sort of gunslinger vampire guy who has a lot of charisma. The way he talks and explains things, he's very blunt, and he's yep, I'm gonna kill him type guy, He makes his money by killing people. And later on we find a little lore backstory of like how he became a vampire and stuff like that, which is also pretty interesting. Overall, it's a very easy watch, but it's an engaging watch. All the acting is really solid. It's shot in black and white, and it looks really good. And I really like the idea of mixing the Western and vampire film together. And the director here, Edward Dean, does a really good job on this film. So I had never really heard of anybody talk about this movie, but it's pretty good. So definitely a highlight of 1959. I don't want to spoil too much, but it's pretty well told story. I like the sort of dispute between these characters, and the guy that is he's sort of like the bad guy, if you will, not the vampire, but the other guy, the guy that Douls, the brother character. He is kind of despicable, and you just get the sense that he's like, he owns the town, kind of, you know, like everybody like kisses his ass, and he's just like a you know, rich douchebag who has everybody like on his side except for the preacher and the sheriff, who are sort of like you know, trying to work things out between everybody. Also, yeah, I forgot to mention there's a sheriff character as well who's pretty cool. But yeah, that's basically the film. I'm gonna go ahead and give it like a 7.5 out of 10. It could be creeping up towards the 8. I'll reevaluate it when I get closer to doing the top 10 of 1959. But definitely a cool little film that might be a little bit of a gem. So that is Curse of the Undead. With that said, I'll see you guys tomorrow with another review. Peace.